Hello.
Hey,
Welcome back to Andy's Library. I'm Andy.
I'm Brent.
And this is my friend Brent. And I know there's been some speculation on YouTube whether or not he really exists.
I'm like Snuffleupagus.
But he does exist. But there is one thing he'd like to clarify before we get started.
I'm not a librarian. Never have been, never will be.
But to me, he'll always be a librarian. He works in a library.
Yeah. There you go. We're just warming ourselves by my fire.
And his card catalog.
Yeah.
How cool is that?
I stole it.
So Brent and I have been best friends since 6th grade.
1988.
Mrs. Atkins's math class. And we are now older than that. So it's been 40 years.
40 years.
We've been friends.
Over 40 years.
We've read a lot of books together.
Mm-hmm.
We've written one.
We did.
And...
That would, if we would write it now, would have gotten us kicked out of school.
Yeah.
And institutionalized, probably.
Probably at least some sort of a counseling referral of some sort. But we've been friends this whole time. Nary a break. Even when he moved up here to Penn State and abandoned me with a newborn, he left when I had a 1-month-old daughter.
That's not true.
You left me when Lucy was born.
No, before. Because I got her birth announcement here.
He left me while I was pregnant. That doesn't make you better.
No.
It doesn't sound better.
Doesn't make me your husband either. I mean, leaving a woman when she's pregnant is...
I do have a husband. You might meet him later.
If you're not the root cause. Really, no big whoop.
It's One more thing before we start our TBR. Did you see my t-shirt? Brent got me this.
I did. And now in the back it says period. Mm-hmm.
All right. We also had French class together.
We did.
Ready? Go.
Bonjour.
Bonjour, Guy.
Bonjour, Michelle.
Ça va?
Oui, ça va, et toi?
Pas mal. Do you see that? We're still fluent. And that was thanks to Redline Education.
Uh-huh.
Madame Sedaris.
Oui.
So Brent,
Oui.
this is a TBR video, which means Brent's going to share with us
Things that I haven't read yet, right? Is that the plot?
Yeah, things that you plan to read. Now, what's your time frame here?
Sunday.
It's Sunday?
Someday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, tomorrow. I got this.
So maybe in a month we'll have a
Just
reading
call
wrap
me
up from
Evelyn
Brent.
Wood.
I don't know who that is.
Evelyn Wood speed reader classes. When we were kids, they used to have advertisements on Philadelphia television channels for Evelyn Wood speed reading courses.
I wasn't allowed to watch channels from Philadelphia. I also wasn't allowed to stay up and watch Fantasy Island.
Yeah,
I had to go to bed after Love Boat.
that's all I ever did.
Watch Fantasy Island.
Yeah.
No, I wasn't allowed, unless there was a tie-in to Love
Well,
Boat.
you had parents.
Sorry, Susan.
Yeah. You were raised in a home.
He was changing the yard.
I'm really in trouble now.
Oh, Susan does watch this, doesn't she?
She does. She did.
I love her.
I don't know.
Aw.
But I love her too. I guess I should say that quick. Now, should we get to the books?
Yes, let's get to the books.
People magazine. What do I just do? Do I just show them?
You show
and
it.
Say,
You show it.
I bought this book before a long trip, and I got like halfway through it, and I haven't finished yet. It's Mr. Know-It-All by John Waters. And John Waters is one of my favorite people on the planet, and sort of a big influence on me. His movies and his
I didn't
writing.
realize he was an author.
He has written a lot of books.
I just know him as
I
a
have many of
director.
them if you would like to borrow them. But he is just one of my favorite. And
I would like to borrow it, Mr. Librarian.
I have a little stamper.
Don't need a me.
Yeah, but I think he elevated bad taste to a classical level, and I appreciate that about him. I just think he's funny. And I always thought it was cool that he was, when we were kids, he was like 45 minutes away. Like we could go to John Waters' house if we had to.
Which I did not know.
Back in the day.
Yeah, I did not know that.
I did.
I didn't realize Baltimore was such a big part of his background.
It's the biggest part of his background, sort of. Yeah.
Yeah, I did
all
not
the
know that
movies
at all.
were filmed in Baltimore.
So, what's the one with Divine's in one, right?
She was in a lot of
Pink
them.
Flamingos.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Crybaby. We were just talking about Crybaby.
Oh my
the
gosh,
other night.
Crybaby.
Yeah.
Such a good movie.
Yeah.
Yep. So good.
Yeah. My favorite John Waters movie is Desperate Living, which
Never saw it.
Which people, you shouldn't see it. It's not for you. It's not, and I wouldn't like anyone to say, oh, Brent told me to watch Desperate Living, so I'm going to. But he was just a very big influence on me, and he wrote an article years ago for Rolling Stone magazine called 101 Things I Hate. And it was like he went through a normal day of his life, and then after each thing he hated, he put a number. So it was like, saw a convertible drove by, 44, and it was just,
So in one day he saw 101 things that he hated.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to do that.
And I just thought it was funny.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So that's the first one, Mr. Know-It-All.
Yes. All right. Oh.
I'll have a link below.
This is the new book of lists, which I just found out existed. I think it's older than I care to admit. When I was a kid and I would go to my grandparents' house in Florida, my grandmother had a whole set of the book of lists. There was like 5 of them. And I just thought, and probably because they're just little quick things, I didn't even break the spine on this. You can hear it crack. And it's just 24 molecules and amoebas with funny names. I mean, it's not really sensible. But when I was a kid, and maybe my reading skills weren't up to snuff, I would get these books out, and you could read like a whole chapter really quickly. And sometimes there was dirty stuff in it, which I still kind of remember. And then I was looking on Amazon for something, and I saw, this came up as a suggestion, which I thought was interesting, and it's the new book of lists. So I bought it, but I haven't. 9 people who died laughing. That's good. That's interesting. Early careers of 7 self-made billionaires. It's just something.
That is actually kind of interesting.
Yeah. And it's something like,
I might borrow
a
that
bathroom book. Maybe people might call that. Something you could read relatively quickly.
Okay. That sounds pretty good.
Okay. Thanks. Not great. Just pretty
Not great. Pretty good.
Okay.
I'll put it on my list.
Okay.
My
Please Don't
list of
Sit on
books
My
I'm gonna
Bed
read.
in Your Outside Clothes by Phoebe Robinson. She's one of the 2 Dope Queens, if you're familiar with them. It was a podcast, and then it was a show on HBO for a while. And I think I found her, she was on a podcast about Housewives, which we'll get to in a minute. And I just thought she was really funny. And I do think, the moral of this story, I think, is old white people like us need to start paying better attention to people who aren't us. And maybe an easy way for us to get there is through just some humorous essays and things. So we find humor is a good way to find some sort of commonality, I think.
Yep.
So especially with things that are funny, I like to read other voices.
Oh, yeah.
Beyond my head. And this was my Christmas present to myself this year. But I haven't started it yet.
Wait, does it have a little... Oh, I thought it had like one of those little bookmarks that comes in.
Oh, no, it's just broken.
No.
Thanks, Amazon. Yep, but I'm very excited to read this. She has another book that I read, and it was hilariously funny, and I feel like I learned a lot from her. And I just like the title, Please Don't Sit in My Bed in Your Outside Clothes. I think that's a good role.
That sounds
That's
like
a good role.
Susan.
That does sound like my mother. Oh, except you do it like that. Oh, are you sitting on my bed in your outside clothes? No.
Please don't.
No, let's not do
Please
that.
don't.
Let's not do that. This one, you know what? I just bought this out of habit. It's the second part of David Sedaris' Diaries, Carnival, Snackery. And I read the first one, and it seemed really self-indulgent. Did you read it?
What if David Sedaris... What if he's watching this?
I'm sorry. I like all of your other books.
I've seen you a couple times on the stage, Mr.
I
Sedaris.
have too. Yes, he's come to State College.
And you're
several
very
times.
generous with your time.
But I just thought, I think it's rough going when you publish a diary. That means you think that your day-to-day is so fascinating that everyone needs to know about it.
We knew someone else that did that.
We do, but we're not talking that. We're not going to do that. But this is the second part. I bought it because
you know who you are, though.
it goes right with it. Yes. Now you've made me uncomfortable.
And so do you, Susan.
See, people think you're the nice one. But in reality, I'm the nice one. I just sit here in my lovely home by the fire and read my People magazine.
That's what's actually his TBR.
This is what I actually.
This is a bunch of crap. That's what
Yeah.
he's going to actually get through.
You'll
find out
I like
in this
People
reading
magazine
wrap-up.
because I read it backwards. I start in the back, so I read the one last thing, and then I go backwards. And I like People magazine because you learn a lot about, like Kelly Clarkson, who I normally don't care about, but once you start reading People magazine, automatically you have to care about Kelly Clarkson.
I don't
and
know
her
anything about her.
acrimonious divorce.
I didn't know anything about her.
It's a feel-good story about an older celebrity person like Rob Lowe, something about Kelly Clarkson, an inspiring pet story, and then a story about a woman who goes bonkers and kills her kids and husband. And that's all you need.
That's a book of
And
lists.
that comes to you every week. And it's fresh. You never know. Last week it was Courtney Cox. I learned a lot about her. She's getting her
Wait, is she the
fillers
older
dissolved.
Wait, what's she getting?
Her fillers dissolved.
Like in her face?
Yeah. She realizes she went too far. So now she has to go and get them dissolved.
Yeah, I'm not going that way.
You're not getting fillers.
Nope. All natural aging.
I'm getting my turkey waddler taken care of.
I'm not.
Well, yours is less pronounced than mine.
I like... No, see how the camera's angled? You can't see our turkey waddle.
That's why we did it. Yes. Oh, and last one. I bought this to read on a plane recently, and then I didn't even crack it.
I like how you bought a hardback book for a plane.
Well, I don't... Sometimes, I know how you know how I feel about things sometimes. I think smart people read the hardbacks.
Oh, I did not know that.
Even though I buy them and don't read them.
I
John
was
Waters said,
unaware.
if you go to someone's house for the first time and you're going to spend the night and they don't have any books, go home.
See that? There you go.
Don't sleep with someone who
There's-
doesn't have books. He uses different language than I did, of course.
But still, it's the same wisdom underneath.
Right.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's good. You should take
Tie
that
it
with
all
you
together.
for the day.
But this book is about the Housewives, which I used to say guilty pleasure, but then I read an article somewhere not too long ago that people, when they say guilty pleasure, they mean feminine.
Oh.
So like if you say like if a man says Project Runway is my guilty pleasure, they mean it's something I do that's not masculine. And if women say it, it's something that they're embarrassed by because it's too feminine.
I gotcha.
Like I watch House Hunters every day. It's my guilty pleasure. No,
Yeah.
it's not.
Or like Taco Bell.
So I'm not embarrassed. I talk about the Housewives all the time.
Yeah.
I could talk about it for hours. I could listen to people talk about it for hours, and I do. And this book is the official oral history of the Real Housewives, not all diamonds and rosé. And apparently it's very good. I read an excerpt of it in something. The other book that's on the table is the other Housewives
Our fire
book.
went out.
Oh, well, I'll stoke it later. The other one is the unofficial Housewives Guide, and it's not very good. But this one apparently is better, and it has pictures.
Oh, well.
So that's that's on my stack.
So that's Brent's TBR. So will you be joining us for your reading wrap-up after you get through these books?
So I have to get through all of them, and then... Because
I don't think that's how it works.
That's not going to happen.
The reading wrap-up is usually like a monthly thing.
Okay.
So maybe like in a month we'll get
How about
together and you
I'll
can tell
keep
me what
you
you've
updated
read.
on what I've read and everything. Probably
think
just
that
more
sounds
People
good.
magazines.
Just read one of these books.
Yeah. There's an article, if you can find the People magazine with Valerie Bertinelli on the cover. There's an article about
There's
a
not
woman.
only one. I feel like that's kind of be a
Well, the most recent. The most recent one.
common cover.
But there's a woman who kills her husband in that one, and they actually use the phrase, "Little did he know, he was digging his own grave." And that was like that. People who work for People magazine should just have that printed on T-shirts, because that's the epitome of People magazine. Little did he know, he was digging his own grave.
Oh my gosh. All right. So I'm glad to have Brent with me today because I think this dispels a lot of things. He exists.
And confirms. Confirms a lot of things
He's
too.
not a librarian. My mom is. And what else? What TBR stands for.
Yeah, I did not know that.
All right.
This is all news to me.
So thank you for watching. Please remember to like, subscribe, and comment. And we will see you next time.
Crush the bell.
Bye.